We are test riding the 2021 Suzuki GSX-R750. I love this bike. I love the design. It's basically a MOTOGP bike into a street frame. So we're gonna have in the front, you're gonna have dual disc. It's gonna be 4 piston calipers by Brembo. This is gonna be a 17-inch tire. As we move to the back, we are gonna see that we have another 17-inch tire in the back. You're gonna get a single disc, single piston caliper. This is gonna be Nissan. We're gonna walk around. You're gonna see that it's gonna be all LED. So you're gonna have your taillights, which are gonna be integrated. So turn signals on taillights gonna be integrated. We walk around. You're gonna see that you're gonna have, it's gonna be chain driven, 6-speed. And the bike is going to be, once you have all your fluids in the bike, it's going to come around 419 pounds. So 148 horsepower, over 65 foot-pound of torque in such a light frame. You're talking that you have literally a crotch rocket, a bullet between your legs. So I'm getting ready to test it. I'll give you guys a little bit more information once we get going. We're getting ready here to depart. We're doing a demo ride with Suzuki. So I love the bike right from the get-go. I'm sure the fit is going to be very sporty, so you're going to have your knees like almost fully bent at more than a 90-degree angle. But as you can see right off the bat, we're going to be sitting low, typical sport bike. So just like the 400 DRZ that we wrote yesterday, you have to press the clutch to go ahead and get the motorcycle to turn on. Something that I'm not used to because I ride a FJR, and as long as you have the motorcycle in neutral, you're able to just go ahead and start the bike, but not in this bike. Alright guys, so going back, so this is going to be a 31.5 inch seat height. So as you can see, I'm able to flat foot the motorcycle. I have a 30-inch inseam, so no problems there. You're going to get a little bit over 5 inches of ground clearance. So again, this is not going to be a very tall motorcycle, so if you're going to be probably around 5'7", 5'6", you're going to be able to just not have any issues with the bike. If you see my other videos regarding Suzuki, like the Hayabusa, like the V-Strom, you're going to notice that this instrument cluster over here is going to be just your very basic. There's not going to be any type of display with riding modes and any of that. There's not going to be any cruise control either. As you can see over here, this is just going to be basically, which to me I'm actually a little bit kind of surprised, because typically you're able to go ahead and, you know, this type of motorcycle at the price range, which is going to come around $14,000, you're going to have the ability to have cruise control, but not in this one. So as you can see here, we have the meter, the trip meter, so you're able to toggle between the time. You're able to toggle between time, mileage, and then trip 1 and trip 2. So if you want to go back, you just go basically up and down. Over here, you have the ability to have the high beam pass. It's not going to be like other bikes where they have a lever up here. You're going to have basically, so you can see, it's going to tell you pass. You're going to press it, you're going to see it up there. And basically, let's just wait here till we get going so we could go ahead and just talk a little bit more about the bike. You can see that Hayabusa in the front. I have to say, the way they redid the Hayabusa, they redid the back and the front. It looks like a more refined, more modern motorcycle. The way the Hayabusa was looking, alright, it was definitely dated, so this motorcycle, the way the 750 pulls is just incredible. You could definitely feel the power. So the one thing that you're able to see with the display over here and the GSX-R, it's going to be that you have the ability to select between your riding modes. So you're going to have A, B, C, just like you do with your other Suzuki motorcycles. You also have the ability to do quickless shifting, so that's going to make the ride a lot more enjoyable. Woo! So if you're looking to buy a Suzuki, either the 600 or 750, you probably are just going to be looking first. It's going to be your price range. The 750 is going to start around $2,000 more than your 600. In terms of weight, believe it or not, the 600 weighs a little bit more. This one comes at 419. The 600 is going to be right around 421 pounds. So something to think of if you're looking into either a 600 or 750. If you're going to be a newer rider, you probably going to go with the 600 just because it's going to be in the 120 something like 120 horsepower range. The 750 is going to be 140 plus, 148 to be exact. Torque numbers are going to be pretty much almost identical at between 60 to 70 pounds for torque, and that's where it's going to come down to. So if I was a new rider, I would probably start with a 600, but if you ask me, I would definitely go with something a little bit smaller, but that's just me. I started with a 250. So I have to say, I love the bike. This is a very light chassis. Definitely you can feel the way you're able to flick the bike left and right. As you can see, I mean, it's very light, it's very nimble, and that's going to make the motorcycle a lot more enjoyable once you are on the road. One thing you're going to notice is that this is going to be quick, you know, it's going to be clutchless shifting. So my hand is here and we're into the next gear. As you're able to see, I don't know if you're able to get a good view from the video, but I'm literally hunched over the bike like in typical sport bike fashion. So you're going to see the windshield over here. It's going to be very low, like your typical sport bike. If you want to get any type of wind protection, you have to go really low, and even then I still have the windshield is going to be about halfway on my helmet visor. So I'm 5'10", my inseam is between 30 and 31 inches, so my upper torso is going to be between, you know, 39 to 41 inches. So I'm going to be a little bit taller on the upper torso. So that's why, if you're able to see from the video, I'm basically going to have, even if I lean over, I'm still not going to be able to tuck completely under the visor that we have here. So as I said earlier, the 750 is going to have LED headlights and taillights. Your turn signals are going to be up here in the mirrors. You do have the ability to go ahead and fold them in if that's, you know, for storage purposes, or if you're just, you know, whatever reason, you're able to go ahead and fold them in. I have to say that I would have thought by now maybe the display would have been a little bit more updated. Maybe not a full, you know, LCD screen like some of the newer bikes or some of the other manufacturers are doing, but perhaps something that has, you know, like colors like some, you know, some of the other brands, or even like your, you know, like the same, like the Hayabusa. So I'm gonna give her some space. As you can see, she's very quick off the line. Once she gets into the RPM band where she's at peak power, she's just gonna go ahead and pull you through. So as you can see, there's not going to be any power issues. I know a lot of guys, you know, oh, you know, if it's not 1000cc, I'm not going to ride it. Maybe you shouldn't. Maybe you have not driven a smaller bike. I know most guys that have this type of bike, whether you have a 600, 750, 1000, and even the Hayabusa at 1300, most of the guys, they are just have one skill, and that's to go in a straight line. A bike like this is better enjoyed in the corners. If you're able to find, you know, some good roads here in Central Florida, I know that those roads are not very nearby many of us. You gotta go to like West Central Florida. But a bike like the one we're riding today, the 750, is definitely meant to be ridden in, you know, in the twisties. That's where you're able to maximize. That's where you're able to maximize this motorcycle's potential. I mean, any bike. Any bike in a straight line is going to be fast. So I mean, if you think about it. So what do I like about the GSX-R750? It's extremely light, 419 pounds. It makes 148 horsepower. It has a 4.5 gallon tank, so a bike like this will typically net you somewhere in the mid 40s. So you're talking that you have at least mid 40s if you're not obviously pushing it, and if you're not riding constantly in in the riding mode A, you're gonna get at least mid 40s to low 30s. It's gonna be a very sporty bike. It's gonna be very nimble if you are able to have the motorcycle in the corners. What I don't like, perhaps that's just me because I'm not your typical sport rider. I am not a fan of being leaning forward and having all my weight sitting on my hands, hands, arms, elbows, shoulders. That's pretty much the only downside that I have. I don't have any downside regarding the sitting position. As expected, this is going to be a sport bike. This is not meant to be a cruiser or to mean a sport touring bike, so you can't gripe about the motorcycle if you don't know what you are riding. So no gripes regarding the sitting position, the way my legs are bent. That's just the way it is. I have to say, you don't really notice any heat coming from the engine, and that's a really good feature. I know most of the four-cylinder inline four engines from your typical either Yamaha, Honda, any of them, they sometimes tend to run a little hot, which definitely makes your riding experience not an enjoyable one. I rode a Hayabusa, the new one, the 2021, and you can definitely feel the heat coming from the engine through the side, so you could definitely feel your legs like literally burning, and not just one side, both of them, your left and right legs, so you could definitely feel that. I love demo days, but the one thing I don't like is that you have to go with somebody. I know it's not usual, but I demoed some Hondas earlier this year. If you saw those videos, it's going to be the Honda Rebel 1100 DCT, the Goldwing DCT Sport, and those bikes, they basically just told you just go and come back. We have your information, we know where you live. So you're able to do a little bit more, you're able to take a better look around the motorcycle. But when you're in a group ride, I mean, it's great. You're able to at least get a feel for the motorcycle for 10 or 15 minutes and see if that's something that you would like. But when you're riding like this, it's not as enjoyable. You're going at a steady pace. Pretty much it's going to be the same speed up and down, maybe a few turns here and there. So, but I'm thankful. You don't really get to test ride motorcycles often unless you're going to buy a motorcycle. So, but I have to say, the one thing that I'm still surprised and I can't believe is the fact that a bike like this doesn't have cruise control. I would have thought this would have been standard, but maybe because they think that this bike is going to be just for your typical, a sport rider that's going to be, short distances on this bike. But they do have like throttle locks that you're able to get. It's just, to me, when I think of a motorcycle that's going to be already in the $12,000, $13,000, $14,000 range, I feel like you almost should have cruise control already standard in a bike. That way, if you're going to be doing any type of long distance riding, you are going to be okay. One thing that you get with this package, the GSX-R750, is going to be that you get fully adjustable suspension front and back. As you can see, you have over here in your steering column, you have the forks, you have where you're able to select for adjusting. You have also the preload for the back that you're able to adjust. And I don't know if you're able to get a good look, but we have a steering damper, which is going to make it really, it's going to be a great feature to have. Bikes in this range of horsepower and lightweight, if you are getting off the line really quickly or you're going at high speeds, the front tire might get a little bit squiggly. Having the steering damper in place will help, not eliminate, but it will definitely help minimize your front tire wobble. So you can see it up there, you can see it over here for your adjusting. So now, a very beautiful bike. I have to say that the way they did this paint job, this pearl white with the pearl Suzuki over here, it definitely looks beautiful.